Lisa Marie's bloodstream had therapeutic levels of opioids, but it was not a contributing factor in her death.
She was the daughter of a legend, born into a world most people only dream of. But her story didn't have a happy ending. What happened to Elvis Presley's only child that turned her life into one of the most heartbreaking stories in Hollywood? Join us as we explore the heartbreaking life and tragic death of Elvis Presley's daughter, Lisa Marie. Born into fame. Lisa Marie Presley was born on February 1, 1968, in Memphis, Tennessee. She was the only child of Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, and his wife, Priscilla Presley. From the moment she came into the world, Lisa Marie was surrounded by fame. Being the daughter of one of the most famous men on earth meant her life would never be ordinary. The media followed her from birth, and the world watched her grow up. Lisa Marie's early years were spent at Graceland, Elvis's famous mansion in Memphis. For many, Graceland was a symbol of Elvis's success, but for Lisa Marie, it was simply home. The grand halls, music rooms, and famous gates were her playground. Behind the fame and the photographers outside the gates, Lisa Marie was just a little girl who loved spending time with her dad. Elvis doted on her, calling her his little button. Friends and family described their bond as close and loving. When Elvis wasn't touring or making movies, he would spoil her with gifts, ponies, and even extravagant toys. He also let her stay up late and eat candy whenever she wanted, a sign of how much he adored her. But her home life wasn't perfect. Elvis and Priscilla's marriage was falling apart, and by the time Lisa Marie was 5 years old, they divorced. Even though they tried to co-parent peacefully, Lisa Marie often had to split her time between her parents. Still, whenever she was with her father, she was the center of his world. She didn't fully understand the level of fame he carried. To her, he was just daddy. Everything changed on August 16, 1977. Lisa Marie was only 9 years old when Elvis Presley died suddenly at Graceland. Losing a parent at such a young age is devastating for anyone. But for Lisa Marie, the tragedy was even greater because of who her father was. The death of Elvis wasn't just a personal loss, it was a global event. The entire world mourned him, but Lisa Marie lost the one person who made her feel safe and loved. After Elvis's death, Lisa Marie became the sole heir to his estate. While she didn't gain full control of the Presley fortune until she turned 25, the weight of being Elvis's daughter settled on her shoulders early. Overnight, she became the most famous child in America. Paparazzi followed her, tabloids speculated about her life, and the media turned her into a public figure before she was even a teenager. The emotional toll of losing her father in such a public way was enormous. Lisa Marie spoke later in life about the deep sense of loneliness and confusion she felt after his death. Not only was her father gone, but she also had to grow up under the shadow of his global fame. People constantly compared her to him, expected her to act a certain way, and never truly saw her as her own person. She once described feeling like she was living two lives, one as Elvis's daughter in the public eye, and another as a grieving little girl who just wanted her dad back. This combination of early fame, sudden loss, and emotional isolation shaped much of who Lisa Marie would become. It set the stage for a life marked by both privilege and pain. Even as she tried to build her own identity, the memory of her father and the expectations that came with being his only child followed her everywhere. But Lisa Marie's story was only just beginning, and the struggles she faced as a child were nothing compared to the heartbreaks waiting for her in adulthood. Struggling to find herself. Growing up as Elvis Presley's only child meant that Lisa Marie's teenage years were never going to be normal. After the loss of her father at age 9, her world shifted in ways most people can't even imagine. While she was surrounded by fame, money, and attention, what she really wanted was a sense of peace and identity. Instead, she entered her teenage years feeling lost, angry, and confused. During this time, Priscilla Presley tried to give Lisa Marie structure and guidance. She sent her to Scientology-affiliated schools in Los Angeles. Scientology was a growing part of their family life at the time, and Priscilla believed it might help her daughter find balance. But Lisa Marie wasn't easy to tame. By the time she was in her early teens, she had started experimenting with drugs. She later admitted to using cocaine, marijuana, and pills, explaining that she was trying to numb her pain and escape from the pressures of her life. Lisa Marie also rebelled against the constant attention she got simply for being Elvis's daughter. She once said that the name Elvis Presley followed her like a shadow everywhere she went. Teachers, classmates, and even strangers treated her differently because of who her father was. This constant reminder of her father's fame made it hard for Lisa Marie to figure out who she was outside of his legacy. Instead of feeling proud of her famous last name, she often felt trapped by it. It was as if people didn't really want to know Lisa Marie. They just wanted a piece of Elvis through her. Despite her wild teenage years, Lisa Marie was intelligent and thoughtful. Deep down, she wanted to be more than just a celebrity's daughter. She was looking for something that would give her life meaning beyond her father's name, but that search often led her into trouble. As Lisa Marie got older, another challenge awaited her: wealth. When she turned 25, she officially inherited the Presley estate, which included Graceland and a fortune worth around $100 million. While this kind of money might sound like a dream to most people, for Lisa Marie, it was another heavy burden. She had to figure out how to manage the estate while dealing with people constantly trying to take advantage of her. Lawyers, advisors, friends, and business partners all wanted a piece of her inheritance, and Lisa Marie didn't always know who she could trust. During this time, Lisa Marie also started thinking more seriously about making music. Music had always been in her blood, and she wanted to create her own career. But launching a music career when you're the child of Elvis Presley is no easy task. No matter what she did, the comparisons were constant. People didn't just hear her music, they measured it against her father's legend. That kind of pressure would be hard for anyone, but especially for someone already struggling to find a sense of identity. These early years of adulthood were full of rebellion, mistakes, and pressure. But the hardest parts of Lisa Marie's life were still ahead of her. Next, her love life would throw her into even more chaos. The tumultuous romances. Lisa Marie Presley's personal life, especially her relationships, often made headlines. For someone born into fame, finding love was always going to be complicated. The constant pressure of being Elvis's daughter, her own emotional struggles, and the public's fascination with her every move made her romantic life a difficult road to walk. Over the years, she married 4 times, and each relationship brought its own set of challenges, heartbreaks, and public drama. Lisa Marie's first marriage seemed like her attempt to find something real away from the cameras. In 1988, at the age of 20, she married Danny Coe, a musician from Chicago. Danny wasn't a celebrity, which may have been exactly what Lisa Marie wanted. After spending most of her life surrounded by famous people, Danny offered her a sense of normal life. They lived quietly in Los Angeles, away from the constant flashes of cameras, and for a while it seemed to work. During their marriage, they had 2 children together: Danielle Riley Keough, born in 1989, and Benjamin Storm Keough, born in 1992. Riley would later go on to become a successful actress, but at the time, Lisa Marie's focus was on being a mom. She often said that motherhood gave her the most happiness she'd ever known. Danny was described as calm, supportive, and someone who didn't seem interested in the fame attached to his wife's name. But despite appearances, things began to fall apart behind closed doors. In 1994, after 6 years of marriage, Lisa Marie shocked friends and family by suddenly filing for divorce. The news came as a surprise because no major problems had been made public. Many later speculated that Lisa Marie's inner turmoil, combined with the weight of living in Elvis's shadow, made it difficult for her to find peace even in love. The divorce was handled quietly and respectfully, with no ugly public fights, but emotionally it left a mark on her life. Not long after her divorce from Danny, Lisa Marie's love life took a dramatic turn that would grab worldwide attention. Just 20 days after finalizing her divorce from Keough, she married pop icon Michael Jackson. Their marriage was one of the most talked-about celebrity relationships of the 1990s. At the time, Michael Jackson was in the middle of his first child abuse scandal. Many people believed that his sudden marriage to Lisa Marie was a way to distract from those allegations. The couple insisted their love was real, but the media wasn't convinced. Their marriage was often described as strange or staged. People didn't know what to believe. especially when they appeared together at the MTV Video Music Awards in 1994, sharing an awkward on-stage kiss that was supposed to prove their passion. Lisa Marie often defended Michael publicly. She said she loved him and that their relationship was genuine, but privately things were harder than they looked. The constant media attention put a strain on their marriage. There were also personal struggles between them, reports of emotional distance, control issues, and lifestyle differences. After about 2 years of marriage, Lisa Marie filed for divorce in early 1996. The relationship ended with a lot of rumors swirling around, including talk of manipulation and emotional confusion. In later interviews, Lisa Marie admitted that she felt used at times, but she also said she genuinely loved Michael and tried to save him from the people around him. The experience left her emotionally drained and added another layer of pain to her already difficult personal life. Even before her public romances began, Lisa Marie's relationship with men had been shaped by trauma. When she was a teenager, she faced a deeply painful experience involving her former stepfather, Michael Edwards. Edwards, who was dating Priscilla Presley at the time, later admitted that he made inappropriate advances toward Lisa Marie when she was just a young girl. In her adult years, Lisa Marie spoke openly about how those experiences affected her deeply. This early trauma left lasting emotional scars and played a role in how she viewed men and relationships. Trust became hard for her, and she often said she struggled with emotional safety in her romantic life. The trauma from that time likely influenced the patterns that would show up later in her marriages, choices that often led to heartbreak. One of the most unpredictable chapters in Lisa Marie's love life was her relationship with actor Nicolas Cage. They met at a party in 2000 and quickly became involved. Nicolas, a major Elvis fan, seemed drawn to Lisa Marie partly because of her family connection, although he denied that was his main motivation. Their romance was intense, full of passion and conflict. In 2002, they married, but the marriage lasted only about 3 months before Nicolas filed for divorce. The divorce wasn't finalized until 2004, but the relationship had ended almost as quickly as it began. Lisa Marie later admitted that the relationship was impulsive and self-destructive. She said she often rushed into relationships hoping to find emotional stability, only to discover chaos instead. Her marriage to Nicolas Cage became another example of her ongoing search for love and security in all the wrong places. Lisa Marie's fourth marriage, to musician and producer Michael Lockwood, seemed like it might finally be something steady. They married in 2006 and soon after welcomed twin daughters, Harper and Finley, in 2008. For a while, things appeared to settle down. Lisa Marie moved to England for a few years with Lockwood, trying to create a quieter life for her family away from Hollywood. But behind the scenes, their relationship was falling apart. By 2016, Lisa Marie had filed for divorce, and what followed was one of the ugliest periods of her life. The divorce turned into a nasty court battle filled with serious accusations. Lisa Marie accused Lockwood of inappropriate conduct with their children, which led to a brutal custody fight. Lockwood denied the accusations, and the case dragged on for years. Adding to the emotional toll was Lisa Marie's growing struggle with substance abuse, which also became part of the legal fight over custody of the twins. The once promising marriage turned into a years-long nightmare in the public eye, filled with scandal, emotional pain, and financial stress. Through all of her relationships, a pattern emerged. Lisa Marie was constantly searching for love, comfort, and peace, but often ended up with more heartbreak. Many of her relationships were short, intense, and followed by emotional collapse. But even though her love life was full of heartbreak, nothing could prepare her for the tragedy that would hit her family next: the death of Benjamin Q. For Lisa Marie Presley, family always mattered more than fame or fortune. And out of all her children, it was her son, Benjamin Storm Q, who held a truly special place in her heart. Benjamin wasn't just her son. He was her emotional anchor. Many who knew them described Benjamin as Lisa Marie's twin, not only in appearance but also in spirit. He had the same dark hair, striking blue eyes, and unmistakable Presley features that reminded everyone of Elvis. The resemblance between Benjamin and his grandfather was so strong that it often caught people by surprise. But beyond looks, Benjamin and Lisa Marie shared a deep emotional bond. She often spoke about how connected she felt to him. While she loved all of her children, it was clear that Benjamin brought her a certain comfort that no one else could. Throughout the struggles in her personal life, failed marriages, addiction issues, and the endless pressure of public life, it was Benjamin who helped keep her steady. Friends close to Lisa Marie said she relied on Benjamin emotionally, seeing in him both the love of a devoted son and a reminder of the Presley legacy she carried alone. Sadly, that powerful connection made what happened next all the more devastating. On July 12, 2020, tragedy struck when Benjamin Q ended his life at the age of 27. The news of his death shocked the world, but for Lisa Marie, it shattered her completely. Benjamin took his own life at a home in Calabasas, California, during a small family gathering. According to reports, he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The loss was sudden and brutal, and left a hole in Lisa Marie's world that could never be filled. In the weeks that followed, Lisa Marie's representative released a brief statement on her behalf, describing her as heartbroken, inconsolable, and beyond devastated. More than just a tragic death, Benjamin's death felt like the continuation of a painful family story, something bigger than just one loss. The media quickly picked up on this, calling it part of the so-called Presley family curse, a tragic pattern of emotional pain, drug abuse, and untimely deaths that seemed to follow the family for generations. Elvis Presley died at just 42. His own life marred by drug problems and loneliness, and now his grandson was gone in a similarly tragic way. But for Lisa Marie, media stories and headlines didn't matter. What mattered was that her son, the person who brought her the most joy and grounding in life, was gone. She later admitted that the pain of his loss was unlike anything she had ever felt before. In a post on what would have been Benjamin's 28th birthday, she wrote about her grief, describing herself as destroyed and feeling like a paralyzed pile of ashes. The emotional aftermath was overwhelming. Lisa Marie disappeared from the public eye for long periods after Benjamin's death. Her usually active social media presence went silent. Even in the rare statements she did share, the heartbreak was clear. She often described herself as barely holding on. Friends noted that she withdrew from many parts of her life, spending most of her time in isolation with her daughters or close family. Benjamin's death didn't just break her emotionally, it affected her physical and mental health as well. Those close to her said that she seemed thinner, weaker, and emotionally fragile in the months and years that followed. Losing Benjamin triggered waves of grief that never really left her. In interviews, she talked about how grief isn't something you get over, but rather something you carry forever. The sharp contrast between her earlier life, full of fame, pressure, and fighting to survive, and this period of deep loss was hard for many to watch. The tragedy of Benjamin's death also brought back painful memories of Lisa Marie's own father's death. It was as if history was repeating itself in a cruel way. Just like she had lost Elvis as a child, now she was the grieving parent losing her son far too soon. The Presley family story, already full of fame mixed with sadness, now had another chapter of heartbreak added to it. For Lisa Marie, the death of her son became the defining tragedy of her later life. Even when she did appear in public after his death, such as at memorials, interviews, or award events, there was a visible heaviness to her. It was clear that a part of her had been permanently broken. But sadly, the heartbreak didn't end with Benjamin. As Lisa Marie struggled to survive the weight of that unbearable grief, other challenges soon followed that would push her even closer to the edge. Addiction and financial ruin. While Lisa Marie Presley's public life often made headlines for her famous marriages and family legacy, her private battles were even more heartbreaking. Behind the scenes, she was fighting silent wars with addiction, financial collapse, and emotional pain. Lisa Marie's fight with addiction began quietly but soon spiraled out of control. Like many people struggling with emotional pain, she turned to substances for relief. Her serious problems with opioids and painkillers reportedly started after the birth of her twin daughters, Harper and Finley, in 2008. What started as pain management after childbirth slowly turned into a full-blown addiction. Lisa Marie later admitted that she became dependent on these substances during a time when she was already dealing with emotional stress and an unstable marriage. By 2017, Lisa Marie's addiction had become impossible to hide. She publicly acknowledged her problems when it was revealed that she had checked into rehab to get help. Documents from her divorce proceedings with Michael Lockwood exposed just how serious the situation was. Lisa Marie admitted to using cocaine heavily in the past, as well as abusing opioids and alcohol. She described herself during those dark years as being completely out of control, saying she had hit rock bottom. Checking into rehab was a step toward healing, but recovery wasn't a straight path. Addiction is a disease that doesn't go away easily, especially when someone is carrying the kind of emotional weight Lisa Marie was shouldering. The death of her son Benjamin only deepened her pain, and while she tried to stay clean, grief often brought old struggles back to the surface. As if addiction wasn't enough to handle, Lisa Marie also faced overwhelming financial problems during the same period. Many people believed that she was living a life of luxury, being the only heir to Elvis Presley's estate. But behind the scenes, her personal finances were falling apart. When Lisa Marie turned 25 in 1993, she inherited the Presley estate, valued at about $100 million at the time. While Graceland remained safe and well-managed through a trust, Lisa Marie's personal fortune slowly disappeared. By 2018, Lisa Marie was in a full legal battle with her former business manager, Barry Siegel. She filed a lawsuit against him, claiming that he had mismanaged her finances, wasted her inheritance, and left her millions of dollars in debt. According to Lisa Marie, Siegel had sold 85% of Elvis Presley Enterprises in a bad business deal, wiping out much of her wealth. In response, Siegel countered that Lisa Marie's own reckless spending was to blame for her financial troubles. He said she had a lavish lifestyle, spending millions on houses, shopping, and bad investments. The fight turned ugly, with accusations flying in both directions. But no matter who was at fault, one thing was clear: Lisa Marie was broke. In court documents, she revealed that she was over $16 million in debt, with very little personal income. While Graceland itself was never in danger, the estate is owned by a trust and continues to bring in millions through tourism. Lisa Marie's personal accounts were empty. This financial ruin added another layer of emotional pain to her life. She often felt betrayed by the people she had trusted to protect her. The sense of being used by those around her only deepened her feelings of isolation and sadness. While fighting addiction and financial collapse, Lisa Marie was also caught in a brutal custody battle with her fourth husband, Michael Lockwood, over their twin daughters. The divorce between Lisa Marie and Lockwood wasn't just emotional. It was messy, bitter, and dragged out over years. Accusations were thrown back and forth. Lisa Marie accused Lockwood of inappropriate behavior involving their children, while Lockwood denied everything and fought for custody. The legal battle spilled into the public, feeding the tabloid press for years. Every painful detail of Lisa Marie's life was exposed: her rehab admissions, her financial debts, her accusations against Lockwood, and more. Every move she made was criticized, and every misstep was splashed across headlines. This public humiliation took a serious toll on Lisa Marie's emotional health. Already struggling to stay sober, deeply grieving the loss of her son, and feeling financially cornered, Lisa Marie was now forced to fight for her children in the glare of the media spotlight. Friends described her during this time as emotionally fragile and constantly stressed. It was as if every part of her life, personal, emotional, financial, and family, was falling apart at the same time. Despite everything, Lisa Marie fought hard to hold on. She wanted to protect her daughters, save her home, and rebuild her life, but the years of constant pain, betrayal, and grief wore her down. And sadly, that downward spiral would soon lead to the tragic ending of her story: Lisa Marie's sudden death. For years, Lisa Marie Presley's life had been marked by heartbreak, loss, and private battles. By the time she entered her early 50s, the emotional weight of everything she had been through was written all over her. Anyone who saw her in the last few years of her life could sense that something was different. After the death of her beloved son Benjamin in 2020, Lisa Marie never fully recovered. Friends and family noticed how that grief seemed to pull her deeper into isolation. The sparkle she once carried was dimmed by constant sadness. Grief doesn't have a schedule, and for Lisa Marie, the pain of losing her son followed her everywhere. In the months before her death, the physical changes were hard to ignore. Lisa Marie had noticeably lost weight, and at several public events, she appeared thin and unsteady and often needed support while walking or standing. One of her last major public appearances was at the Golden Globe Awards in January 2023, where she attended to support the film Elvis, based on her father's life. Watching her during interviews on the red carpet, many fans commented on how weak and frail she seemed. She was visibly shaking at times, speaking softly, and often leaning on others for balance. Sadly, just days after that appearance, Lisa Marie's life came to a sudden and tragic end. On January 12, 2023, Lisa Marie Presley suffered a cardiac arrest at her home in Calabasas, California. Paramedics were called to the scene and performed CPR before rushing her to the hospital. For a short time, there was hope that she might survive, but not long after arriving at the hospital, she was pronounced dead. She was only 54 years old. The news of her death sent shockwaves around the world. Just 2 days earlier, she had been seen smiling on camera, supporting the legacy of her father. Now, she was gone. A statement from the Presley family was released soon after, confirming her death and asking for privacy during their time of grief. Priscilla Presley and the Presley family are shocked and devastated by the tragic death of their beloved Lisa Marie, the statement read. They are profoundly grateful for the support, love, and prayers of everyone. An autopsy was performed, and several months later, the official cause of death was released to the public. The coroner ruled that Lisa Marie had died due to complications related to a small bowel obstruction, but it was also revealed that her long history of drug abuse and her overall lifestyle had weakened her body's ability to recover. Toxicology reports showed that she had therapeutic levels of opioids in her system, as well as traces of other medications. It was clear that years of addiction, emotional stress, and physical strain had taken their toll on her body. Lisa Marie was laid to rest at Graceland, buried alongside her son Benjamin, her father Elvis, and other members of the Presley family. The fact that she was buried next to Benjamin felt fitting to many who knew her. The two had been so closely connected in life that it seemed right they should remain close even in death. A custody battle quickly emerged between their grandmother, Priscilla Presley, and Michael Lockwood, Lisa Marie's ex-husband and the twins' father. After several months of legal discussions, Lockwood was eventually awarded full custody, but the situation showed how unsettled Lisa Marie's personal life had been, even in her final years. Financially, there were also questions about her estate. Though Graceland itself remained protected in trust for her children, Lisa Marie's personal debts were still being untangled by lawyers. Despite being born into one of the most famous families in American history, Lisa Marie's personal fortune was gone, adding another tragic chapter to the Presley story. Lisa Marie Presley's sudden death marked the end of a life filled with fame, heartbreak, and struggle. If you found this video moving and want to see more into the lives of iconic figures, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one.